Hello everyone, Kent.Bressler here. I want to welcome you to Kent's Kidney Stories. During our time together over these podcasts, I'd like to discuss kidney disease. I'd like to tell you about my journey as a transplant patient, but also talk about dialysis, kidney donation, and just about anything else that might be of interest. Kent's Kidney Stories, podcast endorsed and sponsored by kidneysolutions.org. Howdy, everybody. This is Kent.Bressler, and we're going to do some podcasting this morning. And I've got a really good friend on that I'm looking forward to talking to. But before we get started, let's have a big prayer. Let's ask and thank this guy that has our well-being in mind. Dear Father God, you've taught us to pray about everything. And in Philippians 4, verses 6 and 7, it is written, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and petition, and with thanksgiving, present our requests to God." Our prayer today is for healing and peace, and for that we are humbled and grateful. Bring us to our knees with praise and thanks for what you've given us. Amen. So good day to everybody. I hope that you all are well. A lot of COVID going around, and this being January 20th, 2022. I'd like to take this short period of time here just to ask you to pray for our fellow kidney warrior, Barb Lundberg. Barb's struggling with cardiac issues in the hospital in Pennsylvania. We send our love out to her. And Barbie, get better. We do love you. Then I also wanted to let everybody know as a ground mark today is my 76th birthday, or 72nd birthday, not 76. I'm jumping the gun. I'm 72 today, and I'm really grateful for being able to reach this goal. And in this coming April, I'll be 35 years old with my brother's kidney. I'd like to remind everyone to visit kidneysolutions.org. This is my organization. We developed this with a lot of great volunteers, and you can find a lot of nice kidney-related information on this site. We have great blogs from Uncle Jim Myers. We got podcasts at Kent's Kidney Stories. We've got a newsletter. One of the biggest things that has been very successful and very happy about is that you can sign up for our Monday night support group, which meets on, like I said, Monday nights at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. All you have to do is give me your email, and we'll go from there. Okay, so today, the greatest opportunity I've had in a long time is to talk to one of my northern friends, Shane Blanchard. Shane's a multi-transplanted individual who's got a great insight and a very excellent attitude in dealing with things that involve kidney transplant, dialysis, anything in the kidney space. This guy's got tremendous knowledge, but he's very supportive. He's a very nice guy. And all in all, I think you're going to enjoy this podcast with him this morning. Good morning, Shane.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
When I got up this morning, I thought about this a lot, and I was on Clubhouse this morning, and we talked about a lot of things about what's going on. And I thought about you, and then you texted me. It's just like out of nowhere, here comes a text from Shane. And you always do that. You always got a way of making contact. In other words, you don't forget people. Not their names. I'm not talking about that. You're a very people-oriented person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm grateful that we're friends. I've learned a lot from you, and I really appreciate the fact that you're so tough, all right? Mentally, physically, emotionally. And the attitude that you carry is one that I would wish and hope that everybody with kidney issues would try to mark themselves by, try to emulate, because it's a fantastic attitude. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just wanted to start this morning by letting you. I want you to take off and tell me a little bit, just in general, about your journey as a kidney patient. I think it's an important one, and so let me hear a little bit about your story.
Sure. So my kidney story started off in infancy. When I was born, I was born with a rare disorder called Eagle-Barrett Syndrome. Another name for it's called Prune Belly Syndrome. The words in the congenital disorder explains itself. If you think of a baby eagle with a big belly, that's what I look like. That's Eagle-Barrett Syndrome, because I don't have abdominal muscles. So my stomach is big and stretched out and all prune looking, which is where the other name Prune Belly comes from. So that's
I like
what that
prunes.
Yeah. So what comes along with that is problems with your urinary tract, problems with your kidneys. Everybody with Prune Belly Syndrome has different variations of what could be wrong. With myself, it was my urinary tract and my kidneys. So what they had done when I was an infant is they had to rebuild my urinary tract. So my bladder is made out of intestines. They ran a line from my kidneys down to my bladder using tubing. But I did have, I think it was called nephrostomies in my back. Okay. Mm-hmm. I had tubes going into my kidneys through my back until I was age 3, so I could drain out. After they got that removed, then they went ahead and they hooked everything up, and I was able to urinate on my own. That did last about 21 years. I had kidney failure the first time at 21 years of age, when those kidneys started to fail because of urine backing up into them.
Yeah.
So, mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then I got a transplant when I was 22. I actually got that kidney from my brother, and we were a very good match, a perfect match. So I was on dialysis only about 5 months. I was really blessed. A lot of people out there end up doing dialysis a lot longer, but my brother was 25 at the time. He stepped up right away, and they began the testing on him right away. So it was about a 5-month process for him to donate. And that kidney had lasted me 24 and a half years. So it ran its course. A lot of damage was done from scarring tissue and things like that from tacrolimus. And to be honest, I probably could have done better at taking care of that kidney. I didn't have the knowledge then that I do now, knowing that food and diet and exercise and things like that could play a part in breaking down a kidney. Over those 24 years, I was over 200 pounds, and I just didn't pay attention to what I ate or anything. I just thought I was a normal person, and the kidney was a healing type of thing. And I didn't look at a transplant as a treatment. I looked at it as a cure. And so that was my fault. And I take full responsibility for losing it. But I'm at where I'm at now. And I did have a second transplant that I got from my best friend, Brad Hendrickson, in 2019. Unfortunately, there was complications with that transplant, and it only lasted about 13 days. It had to be removed on Thanksgiving Day. And so I went back on dialysis for another close to 2 years, just a little over 2 years. And my cousin had came forward this time. But because I'd had so many blood transfusions and previous kidney transplants, my antibodies were raised up. They call it a panel reactive antibody. And it was like 99.27. So it was very, very high. And the likelihood of me finding a living donor was nearly impossible. And the likelihood of me getting a deceased donor, the wait on that could be 10 plus years.
Yeah, 10 plus
so
years.
It was a long
sure.
time. Yeah. So it could have been a long wait. Fortunately, my cousin came forward, and we matched up on everything except for the antibodies. And he had talked to my coordinator, and I was glad my coordinator had the conversation with him about doing paired exchange or doing the voucher program, which is fairly new through the National Kidney Registry. So Jeremy had called me about wanting to know what route I wanted to do. And I put the decision, I said, dude, this is completely up to you.
Absolutely.
I said the thing about doing a paired exchange is we don't know when that's going to happen first and foremost, because we got to find a pair that's going to match you and going to match me. It could be a year, it could be 2 years. And I said, and we could get a call out of the blue and have to go. My cousin's very active. He's got 3 kids. He's very active coaching in his kids' lives and things. And he said, for my life, it would probably be better if we did a voucher. And I told him, I said, to be honest, I would probably prefer that, just because that would move me to the top of the National Kidney Registry for a living donor. And for deceased donor, that would give me a couple hundred points. And since I had credit of 3 years of dialysis, that would put me fairly close to the top. And so that's when he decided to go ahead and donate, which was amazing. He donated to a stranger to give me a voucher so I could get a kidney. And he moved forward with that on November 22nd. This is where God comes into play on this, because this would not happen without the influence of Christ. But when he gave his kidney, 7 days later, I got my kidney from a deceased donor. 7 days. So he gave his on the 22nd of November. I got my kidney on the 29th of November through the deceased program on the living voucher. And the kidney that I got, my doctor said was a perfect match with me. He said it couldn't have been a better kidney. He was amazed. Now, they didn't tell me this when they called me, because all they can do is tell me that the person was 61 years old. The creatinine was a 0.9%. He was in good health. He had just unfortunately had cardiac arrest and wasn't found for a little while. And so he had brain issues and would not come out of it and was on life support. So it was an unfortunate thing for that family. But then, they turned around and blessed, several other families through that experience. And I'm very grateful to whoever these folks are. I have no clue who they are, but it's just amazing how everything worked out with my cousin donating. So I've had this kidney now for close to 8 weeks. I'm only, 2 months out, and it's working great. My labs are good. My hematocrit, which is, or my hemoglobin, I'm sorry. When I went in for transplant, it was low. It was like 8.5. Now it's rising. It's 10.4. My creatinine isn't perfect like they would want, but, I register about a 1.5 to a 1.7 on average. And my GFR is around 50, and it's slowly creeping up as well. So everything with this is working good. My energy's good. I'm able to go and, walk a couple miles and not fall over and want to go to sleep when I get home. Like, dialysis, I could only do like a half a mile at a time. So, I'm feeling a lot better. And this journey has been an interesting one over the last 3 years. It's been a very difficult climb, but I got over the mountain. So it's been good.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you look great. And, it's different. We're doing this audio, but I get to do it video with you because I like talking straightforward with people eye to eye. It makes it easier conversation. But from what I saw of you early on, and now since you've had the transplant, it's a transcending blessing. It's unbelievable how well you look and how well you've done. And a 1.5, let's take it. Let's not worry about the numbers now. The only time we worry about numbers, right, and we've talked about this, is when they start going up. And, they don't stop. So you're not anywhere near that. And you had this transplant. This is your third one. And you had it because you want to live, man. You got a lot of life ahead of you. You're going to do a lot of good things in the kidney space.
Yep. I've got plans. I mean, I want to help out with Kidney Solutions and volunteer there and use any talents I have to help other people. I also help out with the ESRD networks and doing inpatient education at dialysis centers. I have 4 of them that I go to, and I really enjoy that. And then also I want to help out with AAKP in the ambassador program. I was once elected in a past town that I lived in to city council. I was a mayor pro tem. I was involved at the state level with our state senators and congressmen, and I know them all very well, as well as the federal ones. I've been on lobbying trips out to DC for my town and for other causes. And so, being ambassador with AAKP and the friendships that I have with our senators and congresspeople, hopefully I can use that to help the kidney community when it comes to different legislation that they need out there with telehealth or with different meds that are coming out or different treatments, whatever I can do to influence decisions. I want to be there.
Well, I know what I have in mind for you at Kidney Solution is mentoring. You're a great mentor.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things with kidney disease that people don't realize. It's a walk by yourself, and it's not an easy walk. And it's nice to have someone to call or talk to when you need answers. All right. And you can't always get to the transplant team or you get to your doctor. It's nice to have somebody who's done the journey, and you will make a great mentor. So I'm looking forward to that. I wanted to ask you that what was the hardest time for you in this whole journey? And I know it in the kids part of it, but since you've grown to become an adult and you had your third transplant, what has been the hardest thing looking back?
The most difficult part was when I lost the kidney that my best friend had donated to me. There was a lot of guilt that I had to deal with through that whole situation. And I felt very, very bad. Now, for him, he said he didn't care. He said he would have done it over again because you can't guarantee, it was a 1 out of 100 shot that had happened. And it's very rare. So don't anybody that's ever thinking about donating look at my experience to shy you away, because it was a very rare thing that had happened. But the most difficult part for me personally was knowing my best friend had gave me a kidney and it was lost. And I felt some responsibility towards that, and which wasn't my fault at all. But I know that now. But that was the most difficult thing for me through this whole journey.
This is a common thing. I have FSGS, and you know that. And one of the issues with FSGS is that if you're transplanted, that particular illness can come back and attack your transplanted kidney. And when I got transplanted, and this is in my mind's eye, it meant so much to me. I had to tell my brother up front, this could fail. And he said, I don't care. We're going ahead with this. This is something that I have to do. And so potential donors out there listening to this, don't let anything hold you back, especially fear. There's people around that know exactly how this works and can give you answers to questions. So it's very important. And then once to the people who get transplanted, whether you get a deceased or a living donor, that becomes your responsibility to take care of it. And although things happen that are beyond your control, you still need to spend a lot of time working on making sure you're doing everything you can to protect that individual's kidney. This is not my kidney. This is my brother's kidney. And I think you feel the same way. A lot of people name it, or whatever. I understand that. But to me, knowing that it's my brother's kidney and I qualify it as that makes me work a lot harder to keep it.
Yep. I'm the exact same way on this kidney. I don't know who the donor's name is. I've heard through the grapevine who it might be, but there's no guarantee. You don't know. So I don't look at this as my kidney. I look at this as somebody else's kidney. And, that person, not only, even though they're gone, they still have a family. And through my life, they can still have life in remembrance of, what their brother, father, has done for someone else. And it's my responsibility to take care of it and keep living, so that way these people who lost a loved one can look at me and say, look, this guy is still going because of what my dad did or my brother did or my whatever did. So that's kind of how I take it and how I look at it.
The best way that you handle things is that you remain positive. And that's an attitude that both of us carry. There's no reason in the world to feel bad about things that do happen, but there's no use anticipating them either. You and I have talked about this before. It's better to handle something when it happens that you've tried to prevent. If it happens, then you deal with it. You don't look for trouble. All right.
Right.
Trouble will find you. So consequently, Yeah.
And that's where the devil will come in. The God spoke this world into existence in 6 days. Our words have power. So if we're speaking certain things, that just brings way for negative things to come in and for the devil to have his way with us. So, I don't allow those negative thoughts to come out. I especially don't allow them to come out of my mouth, because the power of words is extraordinary, and it just opens the doors for bad things to happen.
Your mind is set to say what you're going to say. You think things through. If you're smart, you think them through. And that's what I like about you. You get a process going. So what comes out of your mouth has been thought about. And that's what you have to do. This is a conscious effort to take care of a kidney. It is a major monumental task to do. And it's ever present. It doesn't happen occasionally. You think about your kidney every day. You really do, because you can literally feel it beating inside you. It's like a heart. So consequently, people have to be very conscious about the importance of taking care of themselves. Because if you take care of yourself, the kidney takes care of itself. All right. Consequences happen, things happen, but we deal with them when they come. We don't anticipate them.
No, you're 100% right. You are what you eat, and you are what you do, and that's 100% how it is as a transplant patient. Being on dialysis and everything is one way to live, but where your true journey begins is after transplant, and that's where the real challenge begins, is keeping that kidney and keeping it happy and keeping it working.
Yeah, if you're happy, the kidney's happy.
Right.
Yeah. That's for sure. Okay, so we've been on several talks together. We've been on Clubhouse and whatnot and what have you. And you never miss a support group unless you just out of sorts when you first had the transplant. You've never missed a support group. How important are support groups?
Well, I think they're very important. The word support group isn't a sign of weakness. The word support is people coming together to share experiences. And I think that's where people sometimes look and hear the word, oh, it's a support group. This means this or this means that. But what it really is people coming together, sharing their experiences with each other. And what it really does is it really rises you up. Because you're talking to people that's been through the same thing that you've been, or maybe they've been through it a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, what it's all about is you're there for each other. You're there supporting each other. It's not about supporting you. It's about you supporting other people and being there for each other with your experiences. And that's what I really enjoy about it, is hearing people's experiences and seeing people's success stories. We get some sad stuff sometimes too. But we all celebrate together and we all mourn together, and that's what's nice about it, is it becomes like a second family to you.
I have never seen anything like having an experience of someone coming in and starts asking questions, and you can see fear in their eye. You really can. We're doing this virtually, we're actually seeing people. You get to see them on the screen, and there's a lot of fear there. There's a lot of fear of the unknown. What's going to happen to me? But when they can sit around and they can see, hey, that person over there is actually waiting on a kidney donor, or that person's been transplanted for 15, 20 years, and that person has had a rejection episode. I mean, it goes through the whole gamut, but at least it exposes you to potential, and it allows you to be very positive in your approach to kidney disease. And I think like you said it best, it really isn't about you getting support. It's about you offering support. It's a giving situation. So I agree with that. So how about exercise? I know you're going to have a plan now. Tell me a little bit about your plan as you grow a little bit more with this kidney.
Sure. So next month I got me a membership at my local YMCA here in town, and so starting in February, I should be good enough where I can start, getting some more walking in. Right now, I just do, short bursts of walks, about 10 minutes every couple hours, or every 2.5 hours. I'll get up and walk for about 10 minutes. But my goal is to be able to run some 3K or 5Ks over the summertime for some different nonprofits that do, fundraisers with them. So I got a membership at the YMCA. I'm going to be working 3 days a week. at my car dealership in February. I'm not going to go back full time quite yet because of COVID and some other things. I just want to make sure I'm ready to get back into it. But I'm going to use 3 days a week to go to the Y to get walking in. We'll see what I can do the first time. I know I can already do 2 miles because there was a nice day here in Iowa. And a couple weeks ago, I went out and I put 2 miles on and I didn't struggle with it much. So I'll probably just go and do 2 mile walks to start with. And then I'll work myself up to 5. And then once I get to 5, then I'll start, seeing, maybe run a half mile, walk the last 4.5, or maybe I'll run a mile, walk the last 3 or whatever. I'll just work myself up to it to where I can get myself ready to do 5Ks. And then on top of that, my eating habits, I'm changing, as well. I'm trying to cut, the meat out a little bit because, that's not so good on the kidneys when it's breaking down. So maybe once a month I'll have my steak. I love my steaks. I love my burgers.
Amen, brother.
Love meat. But, one thing I got to do is cut down on that kind of stuff and have more of a plant-based diet, fruit-based diet, those types of things. I'm a seafood lover. So I do eat a lot of seafood. I do enjoy chicken and turkey, but it's that red meat that I'm going to really start cutting down on.
We talked about that last night too. And I think Miles said it best. Just start applying it by adding something into your diet. Instead of taking it away, add something in. Add something in like a fruit, different kinds of fruits, different kinds of vegetables. Add it in. Don't try to eliminate things. We get in a position, I think, where, quote, we have to diet on. That's not how it is. It's a matter of portion size, and it's not how much what you eat, it's how much you eat. The more you eat, the more you're going to gain weight, and you're just not going to want to follow any type of regimen nutritional program. So That's good. That's an excellent thought process there, and we need to make sure everybody understands that importance. How about your medications? Tell me about your medication load as a new transplant patient. What kind of medicines are you on?
Well, I was on where I was doing 3.5 milligrams twice a day of my tacrolimus, and then the myfornic 1,000 milligrams twice a day. I'm only been transplanted 2 months, and I've already got that knocked down to 2 milligrams twice a day. So, it's been a process. I'm sure it's still going to change yet. I mean, it's still a baby kidney. So, there's still going to be some ups and downs on the medication portion of it. But, prior to transplant and even prior to dialysis, I was on a lot of blood pressure medication. Right. But what's nice is since I've lost about 40 pounds and I've kept it off, I'm only on 2 blood pressure meds now because they said my blood pressure is hypertension and there's nothing I can do to stop it by losing weight. So, but what's nice is I'm only down to 2 meds, whereas before I was on 5 different blood pressure meds when I was over 200 pounds. So losing weight has been a huge thing, and exercise has been a huge thing to keep that off. And then the prednisone, I was on 15 milligrams of that, and that's already knocked down to 10. And they said probably February 9th, I go back, they'll probably knock me down to the 5 milligrams. And they said I'll probably stay at that for quite a while, but that'll be nice to get that put down as well. So
were you on prednisone prior to this transplant? Have you been historically, have you been on it? How long have you been on it?
When I had my brother's kidney, I was only on prednisone for about 2 years, and it was very little. It was only maybe 5 milligrams. I think at one time it was 2.5, and then they took me off of it. And I wasn't, and I was probably not on prednisone for 23 years of my brother's kidney. I didn't take any prednisone whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay. So that's something I want to tell the listeners. You're not going to be taken off of prednisone. If you're on it prior to the transplant, that was a reason for that, and it's usually treatment. You have a condition. Yours was a mechanical condition, I call it. I don't know if that's correct, but
yeah,
if you have a condition like an IgA or some type of nephropathy, kidney damage from disease process that is treated, they treat it with prednisone. That's the standard of care, is to give people high doses of prednisone. So you will not be taken off of that because of it. The impact is that it can create, things like Graves' disease. It can cause a lot more trouble than staying on it over the long haul. So anyway, having that reduced will make it better, because all of those medicines that you're on, you want to make sure that you think you get it down. Hopefully you can talk with the team that you're working with and get it down, to a really tolerable level, because the more you take, and you've experienced it, the more damage it can do over the long haul. And you want this kidney a long time. That's the key. So you in concert with your doctor, your nephrologist, and the transplant team, you should be able to get that ironed out, get to the lowest level possible. And it takes a while. You know this, that get these medication adjustments don't happen overnight. It takes sometimes up to a year to really get you where you're set in. All right. So to speak.
Yeah, it's definitely not a race. It's a marathon.
So absolutely.
You want to go to snail's pace.
That's right. And you're really close to your transplant physician and to your team. And I think a lot of us are, but somehow you have to develop that. In my opinion, you have to have that working relationship with a nephrologist, a kidney specialist. All right. And what do you think about that? How important is having that kind of expertise on your side?
Well, it's very important. I was lucky with, the surgeon I have with Dr. Axelrod. When I got Brad's kidney, there was some damage that was done through that surgery, and I transferred to Iowa City Hospital from where I was, and that's where I'd met up with Dr. Axelrod, and he had to go in and actually remove the artery that it was connected to and put in a new artery from a deceased donor from a transplant he had done the day before. And so I was told three things when the surgery was going to happen. One, you're either not going to make it, you're going to die. Number two, you're going to wake up and your left leg is going to be gone. Or number three, you'll wake up and we'll have a successful surgery. So luckily I woke up with a successful surgery and the artery was put in place.
Yeah.
But that's where I got real close to the Dr. Axelrod, the surgeon, because my case was a very, very difficult case when I had came in there. Because I'd had a really bad bacteria infection as well as a hematoma, because there was leaking out of this artery into my abdominal area. And so we had got to know each other very, very well. Plus, I was in that hospital for 3.5 months. So we spoke on a daily basis. And then even when I got out of the hospital, I still kept in contact with him through email. Every other day, I would email him, thanking him or asking him different questions, or I would be poking his brain about different things. And he was always one that would respond. And so we've had a really good relationship with each other. So now I just send him jokes and stupid things like that to get him laughing. So that's kind of where we're at now. So, last time when I was in the hospital, he told me that, they don't need to see me for a month. And I told him I'm going to start crying. And he goes, why? And I said, because I'm going to miss you so much. And I ran over and I was trying to hug him, and everybody was just laughing and everything. Cause I'm kind of a prankster type of person. And it was funny. He's like, leave me alone, get away. And so it was just, it was funny. And he goes, it's good that you don't have to come once a month. So, but it was fun.
That's another thing too, about, scheduled appointments. They're very important to keep. But, it starts out, I was seen every 3 months, every month. And then after a year, it was every 3 months. And I embraced that. I think going to that doctor helped me out a lot. Dr. Mulgrew especially. And you build a bond with them, but they have, several, maybe even upwards of 500 or 600 people that they're working with, these nephrologists, their caseload. So we take that with a grain of salt. Going in and having to sit for an hour and wait on a doc doesn't bother me, because I know I'm going to get the time with him too. If he's taking that time, there's a certain amount of time that has to be given to certain patients, and I'm okay with that. And so now, but I've graduated now. I'm like every 6 months, but being out there, it's good to know your numbers. It's good to know what, how well you're doing. And it's good to be able to prevent things. If something starts, you can get a head start on it. 6 months is a long time. A lot of damage can be done in 6 months.
Right. Yeah. And it would scare me to go that long without seeing them. I mean, hopefully I get my labs every month forever. That would make me feel a lot more comfortable. But, when I got my brother's kidney, at one point it got to once every 3 months. And so, It was normal for me, but now, with this one, like you were saying earlier, you think about it all the time. So,
You
with
never
me,
leaves your mind. Does it ever leave your
no,
mind?
no. And no, it doesn't. And, I'm always, I always know that if I'm peeing, I'm doing good. So
That's right. That's right.
that's kind of how I think about it. So,
Okay. So hydrating up, making sure you're hydrated, right? Eating
yeah,
right special foods.
I'll drink, 3,500 to 4,000 milliliters of fluid a day. So, that's about, 2 liters or four. Yeah, 4 liters.
4 liters.
You think about a 2 liter of soda pop. I'll drink 2 of those a day in water or Gatorade or Powerade or tea or lemonade. And that's all I drink. I don't drink soda pop. I don't drink, I don't drink anything but Gatorade, water, green tea, and lemonade. And that's it.
Yeah, because you can go online, you can listen to thousands and thousands of ideas about what you should and shouldn't eat. There's only two things that I eliminated completely, and that's grapefruit and pomegranate. I don't eat
Yep.
either one of those. And the total reason for that is because they affect the way your immunosuppressive acts. Sometimes it'll reduce the effectiveness, or it'll enhance it, make it, go out of range. So those two things are off limits.
One thing I was going to ask you, I really enjoy asparagus. I love grilled asparagus. And I know that sometimes that can mess with urine or have something to do with more urine. I didn't know and I was going to ask Miles this the other night on the chat, and I forgot to bring it up about eating asparagus, what his thoughts are on that.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem to eat. It's the amount. I know for fact,
Limited.
for fact that if I eat it, I get a gout attack. My brother is the same way. And you don't want that. All right.
I take allopurinol for that.
Yeah. But that I have overridden my allopurinol by eating too much of that, of asparagus. All right. I want you to remember that. Again, it's, some people will sit down. If you can eat 3 or 4, I call them brads, stalks. That's one thing. But my brother would eat, he would eat a plate full of it. He grew it.
Do that.
Yeah. Well, be real careful about it. I think that term brings us back into the idea of moderation. I believe that it's, you have to be very conscious of how much your portion size is and how much of one thing. If you binge eat something, it's not good. It throws everything off. And so it's best just to satisfy the craving, a piece of chocolate. I don't steer away from anything, but I steer away from eating a lot of anything. That's, I think, my main goal is not to eat a lot of certain things. Asparagus is good. Asparagus is great for you, but it can cause some problems. It's got purine, purine. It's got a lot of purines, and purines are enhancers of gout. They trigger gouty arthritis very, very quickly.
Right. Same with turkey and gravy and things like that, wild game. So you got to watch. And, living in Iowa, it's deer country, it's pheasant country, all that.
Yeah.
So you got to really watch it. And I gout attack, I hate it, man. It's painful. I always get it in my big toe, and it's just, I can't even have a sheet touching it, so.
It is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. And, I think I've outlived it, believe it or not. I really do believe I'm on allopurinol, and they've got new medications for it. And there's, a lot of people don't realize this, but you can have a pseudo gout, pseudo meaning kind of like gout, where it'll be just exhibit all the signs and symptoms of gout, but it's not from uric acid crystals. It's actually from ascorbic acid type crystals. It's more like calcium crystals. All right. Calcium buildup in your joints. It acts just like gout, and it's treated just like gout. But, so those are two things you need to be sure your diet's not proud of. You don't need to have a lot of calcium. Calcium is it's a binder, something needs to be in your system, but you can overdo it too. Okay. So anyway, I think I've grown out of it. I knock on wood. About the time I say that, I'll get an attack.
Luckily, I haven't had one for years. So
yeah,
I've had where it felt like something was coming on, and and I'll go get me one of those pomegranate cherry juices and I'll suck that down. And then, the next day, usually, I don't feel anything, but I always just do that as a precaution. I'll get a pomegranate, or not a pomegranate, but you know what I'm saying, that the cherry juice,
yeah.
But it's a high concentration of it that you buy at the store, and I'll suck that down and usually I'm okay. So,
well, the only thing about any drinks that you do, you got to watch the sugar content, because being on prednisone, being on immunosuppressives, it's a pen chance that you can develop over the long haul, not, just once. Over the long haul, you can develop, pre-diabetic condition or diabetes in itself. So I've cut the sugars way down. Doesn't mean I don't eat sugar, but I've cut it way back. So, okay. So I think that we're at a point where we need to try to figure out how we're going to get out of here. And, one of the things I do is I give you a chance, give my guests a chance to talk about the most important thing about your transplant, but also if we've missed anything. Is there anything that you think we should talk about?
No, I think we've done a good job and covered everything.
Okay, I'm satisfied. I think that what we'll do is just kind of glide out of this, and I want to have you back. I dream of having a panel with you and a couple other guys, and actually, tossing around some things. And I would like to do it live if I could. And I'd like for you to be involved in it. I don't know much about live broadcasting, but Jim does and you do. So I would like to entertain that idea of a panel discussion, and we'll get to that. So let me say goodbye to my listeners. And then stick around. I want to talk to you just for a second. So, folks, listen, this is something that we try to get one of these podcasts in a week, and go to Kent's Kidney Stories on any podcast area. And when you're in there, please make a comment. If you don't like the way I talk, the way I look, or the way I sound, or if you've got suggestions or topics you'd like to hear about, or of somebody or yourself would like to come on, I'm open. This is my podcast. I get to do what I want to do, and I don't have to worry about getting guests, because they come to me, and I'm really appreciative of it. I want to make sure that you realize too that kidneysolutions.org is a not-for-profit, but it's also there's no money involved here. If you need help in the kidney space, and you come to us at Kidney Solutions, everything is free. We have no fees. You'll never get a bill from us. And consequently, this is the one thing I want you to take away, especially in the talk we've had with Shane. I want you to appreciate the fact that you are the one that's in charge. You totally are in charge. You get all the options that are available to you before you make a decision. But the ultimate decision to do things about your kidney disease rests with you, in concert with your physician. But no one can guide you better than yourself. And then try to find a mentor. Try to get into a support group. But do whatever it is that you can get done to make your life better, because life's too short. Okay, we'll see you. Till the next time, keep breathing.